This episode is brought to you by Prezi. If you are tired of giving boring PowerPoint slide decks, I tell you to throw it all out and check out Prezi. The philosophy I live by is that in order to be successful, do the opposite of what everyone else is doing. And every one of your competitors are going into those same presentations, doing the same old PowerPoint. It's like the marketing team is working for all the same companies. I don't want my clients to be on their phone while I'm giving a presentation. I want them to be enthralled. I'll be like, oh my goodness, this is great stuff. The value is there. The story is amazing. If you want all of that, check out Prezi. Get a demonstration for you and your team. Just go to prezi.com/TSE. That is prezi.com/TSE. I promise you, it's going to be totally worth it. Welcome to the show, Taylor.
Hey, Donald. How's it going?
You know, I cannot complain. We're having a great morning here, and we're getting ready to chat with you about the power of lead gen and how you guys have been able to help Snapchat and other platforms be able to capture leads. And I want to talk to you about all of that good stuff. But before we dive into that, why don't you tell us a little bit more about you and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am the VP of sales here at Jebbit. I run the sales team, so we're tasked with going out and hunting new business every single day. We really are focused on really three core industries: media, travel and tourism, and e-commerce. So our team's great. We're small, but we're mighty. That's for sure.
You know, and that's the cool thing about it. You just need to, it's better to be able to have that, a core team that knows what they're doing than a large force who is unruly and don't know what they're doing. And you're seeing amazing results. So you guys are not hurting for big clients, right?
Yeah. I mean, we're doing a pretty great job in making, partnerships with companies like Snapchat, but then also going direct and working with brands, everyone from Cathay Pacific Airlines to Talbot's to eBay. So we work with a lot of big enterprises, which is really great. And we're learning a lot as we go. And obviously partnerships with Snapchat really help get the word out about what we're doing and why we're doing it and how we're doing it.
Well, let's talk about you guys. What exactly is your software, your tool?
Yeah, so we are a software as a service. We actually are a declared data platform, and I'll go over exactly what declared data is in a second. But really where our expertise lies is really in two places. One is declared data. How do you capture it? How do you organize it? And how do you activate it? And then on the flip side is really being experts in consumer attention and consumer mindset. So how do we get the attention of consumers? How do we get them to interact, to engage? And how do we get them to give up some of their information through conversations, through digital dialogues, if you will? And that's really where our partnership with Snapchat came into play.
And so let's talk about that. That's a crucial part. For years, Snapchat's been around. They've had their run-in with folks like Facebook and, declared no. And then they went off on their own, IPO, all these great things that they had. It's great success. Yeah. But one of the challenges that they faced was capturing leads. Let's talk about that challenge for them at the time. You mind sharing a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously Snapchat is an outstanding platform. I think I probably log into it about 10 times a day, and that's probably pretty low for the users. So when you think about it, people are engaging with their phones and with Snapchat in these like micro moments, and where Snapchat has really gotten really good is kind of keeping consumer attention, right? So you're looking at a Snapchat story or watching a show or maybe watching one of your friends' Snapchats. And really where they needed help was how do we keep that attention, but that also utilize the platform as a way to capture insights about those that are using the platform. So not just lead information, but also declare data, as I mentioned before, what we're able to capture and help them capture. So our partnership with them really is kind of twofold. One, actually, their sales teams are going to market with this and selling it to their advertisers as a way to help them continually to engage the audience on Snapchat while also capturing some sort of lead or qualifying information.
Yeah, there's that's pretty cool in all in itself, because I feel that imagine anyone, if the average users on Snapchat or a business, they're able now to get some more data, because Snapchat, how many users they have now? It's like ridiculous, right?
A lot. Yeah, they're getting up there. Not quite at Facebook status, but they're getting up there.
Yeah. So with this, how has this positively impacted Snapchat's business for them, being able to capture leads, you would say? How have you seen any, have you guys done any case studies yet with them, or is it still in progress?
Yeah, I mean, we've launched a number of different campaigns with Snapchat. I'm happy to share some case studies after the call, but really what we're helping them to do is actually generate incremental revenue. So if you think about one of their advertisers that's coming to them and asking for access to their audience by inserting ads into, say, stories or shows, what we're able to do is actually go a step above that. So by offering them our interactive piece of content for them to insert into the ad, they're able to capture more data and leads. So when it comes to the advertiser and the ROI that they're getting from that buy with Snapchat, instead of just getting access and impressions or engagement or however they're measuring it, they're actually getting leads with some sort of qualifying information. So Snapchat is actually able to go out and say win new business with our platform or upsell current clients or even retain clients by just giving them better data back. So for them, it's really a way to outsource, what we have as far as our expertise, while also generating revenue for their ad sales teams.
Does this matter what size business it is, or is mostly for large business to find benefit from this?
No, absolutely not. We really work across the board when it comes to our partnerships. Mm-hmm. I will say that when it comes to like the long-term vision and the data that we're capturing, mostly enterprises are seeing like the true value of it because they have, so much data and they're trying to capture the right type of data, and which that's where we're able to help them. So when they think about the long-term benefit of working with Jebbit, it's really all about capturing relevant and actionable data that then they can take to further remarket to those individuals or maybe serve more relevant content or offers or et cetera. But over time, just leveraging our platform as a way to build out more robust profiles on their audience and on their potential customers and customers. I'm
curious, is it with the lead what kind of information about the user? You mentioned like name, can they get email address, phone numbers and stuff like that? Or is it more of just, like their name at this point and an email address?
Great question. So really, as part of the lead capture element, we can capture really any sort of, PII data that you would want. That could be phone number, that would be, email address, that would be name, first name, last name, et cetera. But then we're also able to capture data along with it. So when I say declared data, really what I mean by that is data that you would only get from someone as if through a conversation like this we're having. So instead of, for example, Reebok asking, when do you intend to run your next marathon? Or, are you looking for a shoe for yourself or your husband? Those are the types of insights that someone like a Reebok would love to have because it helps them understand their customer better. So what Jebbit's platform is actually able to do is capture that PII data and then tie it to that unique data point. So again, it becomes more of a profile and more of an understanding of that consumer about not what they did, but why they did it or why they intend to do something, take some sort of action.
I think the cool thing about this is that it's right now, especially as consumers, we have so many people, biting for our attention, right? Yep. And if somebody can give me data or information that's going to apply to me, like it makes me feel, I think if you think about it, it just kind of makes you feel like, yeah, this organization knows me, right? And I don't have to think too much. And it goes back to the old sage, we hear in sales that people do business with those they know, like, and trust. And how can you show that you know me? And also take the works out of it for me, right? Because if I know, if I have to go do all the research, but you kind of basically did the research for me, you understand me, it makes it a little bit more simpler for me to weed through the competition.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely spot on there, especially when it comes to this device in my hand. When you think about it, it's like, every time I pick up my phone, I'm interacting with something on a personal level, right? I'm looking at Instagram at my friends' stories. I'm looking at Snapchat at the shows and the stories that I want to watch. I'm pulling out my email or text message, and that's all personal, right? And then if a brand tries to insert itself into, say, my Instagram feed or my Facebook feed, and it's not relevant to me, or if it's not, personalized to me, I'm like, what the hell? This isn't right. I didn't want this sort of interaction. So where we are really helping our brands is not just to put fundamentally better experiences in front of their consumer, but also make sure that it's extremely contextually relevant. So by understanding the wants, the intents, the psychographic data of your customer, you can serve them more relevant experiences, more relevant ads, more relevant emails, et cetera. And that's really, where we've been able to help a lot of our clients is the ability to personalize messaging, the ability to understand their audience better. And again, serve that contextually relevant experience when and what the consumer wants.
With the Snapchat being able to see like the surge now in folks that are trying to advertise with because of the fact that you guys have, your platform integrated with them now?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think, when it comes to advertisers on Snapchat, a lot of times, they want something above and beyond just access, right? They want more insights. They want to understand the demographic of the Snapchat audience, and they want lead information. And I think that's really across the board. I mean, we work with about a dozen media companies too, like massive media companies that actually do the same thing that Snapchat does, which is resell it, white label it, and resell it to their advertisers. And they're seeing great response because it's just now their ad buys go above and beyond what they were getting from any of their competitors, and also giving them just a better experience. So not only does that brand have, an interactive piece of content as part of their digital buys, but they're also getting way better insights back. So we're seeing outstanding results. A lot of our clients are paying for their license with Jebbit within the first month for the whole year.
Damn.
So yeah, yeah, it's pretty awesome. So it's been a fun ride to watch these media companies and platforms like Snapchat really take off and monetize Jebbit in a really big way.
Would love to hear about your organization, your team right now. What's the biggest way that you guys are generating your leads in your organization, your team?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're definitely, we're a startup. We're about a 50-person company. The sales team is about 7 people. So really for us, when we're going out to market, it's all about personalizing messaging. We really want to understand, our potential customers before we do that outreach. So understanding what their pain points are, understanding if they're thinking about data in a specific way, and doing that outreach very personalized, referencing, articles, referencing really anything that we can get in front of, the decision maker with, and make sure that we're talking, talking about the same pain points that they're facing every single day and how we could potentially be able to help. So a lot of it's cold outreach. We do have a small marketing team here as well that helps with everything from ABM and inbound to, setting up events and speaking opportunities. So they've been really instrumental. And then we also have a partnerships team as well that works really closely with partners like Snapchat to continue to drive revenue. So yeah, there's a number of different ways that we're getting leads and opening opportunities, but the bulk of it is really through us just being, grinders, getting out there.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the areas, even like I find that the sellers that I get a chance to work with and some of the companies, they're afraid of still doing that outreach, right? Because we do want to, any organization, no matter who you are, our vision would be to have people just busting down our doors, people just knocking down and saying, come, give me, I want what you have. Give me, Taylor. And, yes, we're all striving for that. But in the process, you still have to do some of that active outreach, you still have to take your efforts and play some offense as well, as opposed to just being defensive.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we don't have like the brand equity that, a Salesforce Marketing Cloud has, or Oracle, or, any of those big names. So a lot of times we have to be evangelists for one, who is Jebbit? What are we doing? And then also the idea of declared data, the idea of mobile interactive content. So a lot of times it's education on those spaces and then drilling down into Jebbit. So it's really kind of a two-step sales process, getting them to buy into the idea of what we're doing and why we're doing it, and then walking them through the Jebbit platform and really where our capabilities and expertise lies.
You first off, you used the word evangelist in there, so it's even cooler.
For you.
She's like, let me throw that in. Let me personalize this answer to Donald here.
Yeah, exactly.
I like it. And then the other part too, I would love to get your insights now, because we just had the conversation about how, now Snapchat has lead gen opportunities. We see that there are many different companies who are utilizing Snapchat, many different individuals, especially millennials, who are just all over Snapchat. I would be curious to kind of get your take. How can we, as sales professionals, better utilize Snapchat? Is there a way that we can utilize as individual sellers Snapchat to grow our business or to grow our book of leads or pipeline? Any thoughts on that yet?
It's interesting. I'm a huge fan of the idea of social selling and utilizing platforms like LinkedIn and Twitter to understand who you're selling to before you do any sort of outreach or even sending them a tweet or sharing articles via LinkedIn. To be honest, we haven't leveraged Snapchat or Instagram as a way to generate leads. But I do think it one day will be a great place for thought leadership, for ABM, especially as, the Snapchat audience grows and adds more of your businesses and your kind of older generation as well. Right now, Snap is a pretty young generation platform. So we're not seeing a ton of success on doing any sort of outreach, but I would assume that it's in the cards. I could definitely see it growing in that way.
Yeah, I agree with that on that. And I think maybe at this point, the most you can probably do, I guess one of the added benefits is like the building of relationships. So if I have a prospect and we did build enough of a relationship that I can connect with you on the medium of Snapchat, I guess you can find that more personal level, see what they do on a day-to-day basis. Because a lot of the managers I'm coming across, sales managers and sales leaders like yourself, you're on Snap, you're on Snapchat, and it's like, okay, if once we get to that point where our friendship is, we're progressing, it can be like, okay, let me see what's going on. And I think if you do it right, you can open doors for engagement and engaging conversations there.
Oh, absolutely. I totally agree. I think, we actually had this conversation at our sales stand-up on Friday afternoon about kind of once you make that personal connection with someone, how do you continue to have that personal connection with someone? So that could be things like grabbing getting their cell phone and sending them a text and kind of opening up that sort of dialogue versus, just the email. Or it could be following them on Instagram or Snapchat as a way to just kind of open the gates on having that personal connection. So you're so right. I think, so much of what we do as sales professionals is obviously understanding our product really well, but we also have to understand our buyers really well. And that might mean both, in the work environment, but also outside the work environment. It also helps with things like, if you do have someone that you're trying to get in front of and understanding them, like, for example, one of our owned accounts, our target accounts and target buyers, we found out was a huge SoulCycle fan.
Nice.
And so we sent him actually a SoulCycle gift card and we got a response from it. And, it's things like that and understanding them and understanding where their personal interests lie in addition to their work interests. They're just great ways to, again, make that personal connection and open doors.
Yeah, there's something about that, right? Well, here's the thing. Like, I love that. It's kind of like you can follow up with a gift card like that, personalize it towards them. I found that many of the sellers and I'm going to say, well, let's just back it up. When I was like actively doing, sales for, software companies, inside sales, or when I went on outside, one of the things that I know that I did was I would do the just follow up email. And, it becomes more mundane after a while. You get so used to it. You're like, okay, it's a follow up email. I'm not even going to open it. Not even going to read it. So you don't get the response, loses potency. But what has helped was when I started to take advantage of social platforms like LinkedIn, share an article or share something. And like you said, what you guys, you can use, Snap or Instagram all you need to do is just remind me that you're there. You don't even have to say anything about your product or about your service. You just can drop me something and say like, hey, or whatever, or, just let me know your presence. Let your presence be known. And I'll be like, oh crap. Yeah, I need to get back in touch with Taylor. Let me go ahead and connect with my manager because I know she's going to connect with me. Or like, hey, Taylor, yeah, totally. Can we connect next week after the holidays? I'm going to visit my manager. She's leaving on vacation. And there's your follow-up without you saying, hey, just following up,
Yeah. I always say to my reps here is that when you do a follow-up, you have to provide some sort of value. It can't just be like, hey, I'm circling back. It needs to be, sharing something that they might find valuable or insightful. And that doesn't necessarily have to be Jebbit specific. It could be, like you said, just sharing an article that might be relevant to what you guys had discussed in the past, or knowing that they're involved in something personally, like, what can you share with them? An article about SoulCycle or, about, something that just might be fun, and just remind them again, like you said, that you're there.
SoulCycle is not sponsored in this episode, but I know a lot of you are going to check out SoulCycle now. Go ahead. We're going to put it in our show notes.
Unfortunately, they're not a client of ours yet. So it's not a plug by any means for them.
Hey, if anybody knows anyone at SoulCycle, you need to connect them with our folks over at Jebbit now. So if you're out there listening, you have any connection, drop us an email.
Yeah.
And let's get some teamwork going on here and get this.
Yeah, exactly.
as we get ready to come towards the end of the episode here, I want to get to a couple other areas real quick, because you find, and I'm going to play devil's advocate, because we have people out there who are like, they're the protective type. They're listening to this and they're like, oh my goodness, I can't believe all the stuff's out there. Big brother, big data. They're pulling all my information. How would you address someone who might say, well, I don't like that capability that, Snapchat is able to get that information, or any of the medium is able to get all that information on me, can think before I think. What's some of your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, so when you think about all the different types of data that companies and businesses have access to, think about third-party data providers where companies are going actually buying data from third parties. You think about first-party data where me as a consumer, say I go on to J.Crew and I'm navigating, or I go in and make a purchase, that would be first-party data. And then you even have, second-party data. When it comes to the types of data that we are collecting, the beauty of it is that it's actually data that someone willingly gives. So again, as if through a conversation. So a lot of our content experiences are very conversational in nature. They could take the form of like a personality quiz, or, finding the right look for you, if you're an e-commerce brand, or helping them to navigate somewhere on the site, or an editorial experience. But all of the types of data that we're collecting are actually question and answer based. So you're actually willingly giving that information to a business. And when you think about that type of data, it's actually actionable, it's relevant, and it's accurate because I'm giving it to you as a consumer. So when you think about the value of that, me as a consumer, I would much rather have, a business have that type of data on me than a third party data that is wildly inaccurate and irrelevant, or even first party data, because yes, that's really beneficial, but it's based upon what I did, not why I did it. So that's kind of the differentiator there. So if a company is going to have data on me, I certainly want it to be the right types of data, and, to make sure that that business is then, again, sending me more relevant offers and understanding me better as a consumer.
I love that. It's more of you're going on the other side of the line, where it's like, I'm going to allow people to have this meaningful conversation with me, and not just sneaky behind back and, click on something. I won't name the platform, but let me tell you, I had a friend over four of us were over last week, just kicking it. Buddy was in town. And then my friend was telling us about the straight blade that he was using, like, just, he ditched like Harry's and all that stuff, just a straight blade, a metal, old school stuff to shave. And then we were like, oh man, that's cool. So one of my other friends, he pulled it up on his, and was on his iPhone, and was like searching, and he showed us, and it's like, dang, this thing is like $400. So we're like, let me see that. And he just passed his phone around. We're like, what the heck, $400 for this straight blade? And my buddy's like, no, that's not the one I use. But to my surprise, and I shouldn't be that surprised, the next day, I'm not kidding, I wish I'd taken a screenshot. It wasn't on my phone, Taylor, at all. Yeah. The ad was on my phone for this straight blade. I was like, no freaking way. No way. It was on my phone.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just figured that like maybe they just realized the proximity or how this works. And, that we're all of us have like a bunch of friends on this unnamed platform together. So we just kind of figured it must have been something like that, or somehow listening to that's more creepy as opposed to I answered questions, you know what I mean? And that it doesn't provide as much trust.
Yeah. And now you're getting served that ad for the straight blade that is you never wanted, nor did you ever intend to buy. And now you actually have a bad, kind of brand interaction with that straight blade. So it's probably making you less likely to buy the straight blade in the future. Not only is it wildly, overpriced, but it's not something that you actually wanted to buy. So now you actually have a negative connotation with that brand because, they served you an ad where it makes zero sense for you.
Yeah. So it didn't shoot, man. That's almost like a mortgage bill right there. Forget that.
That's an expense. I hope it's like built of diamonds and gold.
Oh, shoot, man. It better wash itself. Better.
Yeah, exactly.
My grandkid's going to use that sucker.
Yeah. Gosh. It's things like that we're helping brands to do much better. So brands don't want to serve like ads, to a consumer that doesn't make sense for it, because again, it develops that negative connotation. So we're definitely helping brands when it comes to understanding their audience better so that they're not in that same position as the straight blade razor guy.
Yeah. Like, none of that. Well, this has it's been fabulous. And guys, we found Taylor because we were researching and we found this awesome piece explaining how Snapchat was using leads and connected with Taylor and Jebbit. And we have that link to that article in our show notes. And we also have linked back to Taylor and to Jebbit and all the cool stuff that they're doing out there. But Taylor, if there's one major piece of advice you'd like folks listening to this episode to walk away with, the business owners or folks out there trying to use social media to sell, what's that one major piece of advice?
I think it's all about personalization, right? What we're doing both on a business to business level or business to consumer level is all about serving contextually relevant content and experiences. The same thing should go when it comes to your salesmanship, making sure that you understand your buyers and, are personalizing every message. So it makes sense for both the brands, but also, the sellers out there as well.
Awesome. And if folks listening, they're like, man, I want to get connected with Taylor. She sounds pretty cool. What's the best way for them to connect with you?
Yeah, sure. My email is taylorb@jebbit.com. And then I'm happy to share my cell phone. It's 781-248-8274. And Don will have me pass that over to you so you can share with the audience as well.
Awesome. We'll put all that in our show notes. You get connected with Taylor and go check out the power of personalized data and how this can help you grow your business. And congrats to you guys in Snapchat and for the opportunity to gather the leads.
Thanks, Donald. Have a great afternoon and enjoy Aruba.
Thank you so much. Same to you.
All right. Take care. Bye.
This episode is brought to you by Prezi. If you are tired of giving boring PowerPoint slide decks, I tell you to throw it all out and check out Prezi. The philosophy I live by is that in order to be successful, do the opposite of what everyone else is doing. And every one of your competitors are going into those same presentations, doing the same old PowerPoint. It's like the marketing team is working for all the same companies. I don't want my clients to be on their phone while I'm giving a presentation. I want them to be enthralled. I'll be like, oh my goodness, this is great stuff. The value is there. The story is amazing. If you want all of that, check out Prezi. Get a demonstration for you and your team. Just go to prezi.com/TSE. That is PREZI.com/TSE. I promise you, it's going to be totally worth it.